Dear academicians, dear students and guests who are watching us right now on YouTube, you are all welcome the next event for Research Center of Neighboring Countries and Regions. Today we have very special guests from Uzbekistan. We are hosting Eldor Tulyakov, who is the Executive Director of the Development Strategy Center of Uzbekistan. Welcome to our program, Mr. Eldor Tulyakov. I would like to thank for you for accepting our invitation. Assalamu alaikum. Today we will discuss the current issue related to Central Asia. Title of the event is Regional Cooperation in Central Asia, Trends and Projections. Before I give the word to Mr. Eldor Tulyakov, let me introduce our honorable guest in more details. Eldor Tulyakov is the Executive Director of the Development Strategy Center of Uzbekistan. In 2015-2019, member of the Legislative Chamber of Ali Majlis Parliament of the Republic of Uzbekistan, the Committee on Budget and Economic Reforms of the Lower Chamber, and the Central Council of the Milli Ticaret Democratic Party. He is also a member of the Tashkent Council of People's Representatives and the chairman of the Standing Committee on the Rule of Law and Combating Corruption. Eldor Tulyakov is a graduate of the Westminster International University in Tashkent in Commercial Law in 2008, and the holder of Master Degree in Finance of the Institute of Law and Finance at the University of Frankfurt in 2011. He has been actively involved in various events organized by government agencies, civil society institutions, and international organizations, where he gives lectures, makes presentations, and comes up with constructive proposals for the further improvement of legislation. He is also making a worthy contribution to the further rising legal awareness and legal culture of the population, ensuring the transparency of activities of the parliaments and state agencies, and to the promotion of the essence of ongoing socio-economic reforms in the Republic. I would like to start with this question, our event. An overview of Central Asia Regional Cooperation to date shows that the roots of regional coordination lie in the late Soviet period. Until recently, regional cooperation among Central Asian states has left much to be desired. Today, many events are happening in the region. What kind of a paradigm do you present for the regional development cooperation strategy and Central Asia? What is Uzbekistan's role in the region? Please, Mr. Tulyakov.
Thank you very much, Ms. Kamalova. I'm very much pleased. I should first of all note to be invited to this wonderful event. I would like to thank Istanbul Commerce University and you for organizing such a wonderful event. I'm very much pleased to be part of it. Of course, Central Asia, we should say that it has been always been the focus of global and regional partners because of its rich natural resources, strategic location, economic, transport, and logistic opportunities for other countries and for the region itself. Uzbekistan, having a shared border with all the Central Asian states, including Afghanistan, possesses a unique geopolitical advantage that allows it to influence political, security, and economic processes in the heart of Eurasia. Consequently, the Central Asian region has always been the main priority for Uzbekistan's foreign policy, as regional security and development are directly related to the country. Therefore, Uzbekistan has been actively implementing its regional policy to create a secure, stable, and good neighborliness belt around Uzbekistan. Therefore, Uzbekistan has been trying to shift Central Asia into a region of opportunities under the Strategy of Actions for 2017-2021, which is the main strategic document of Uzbekistan. And currently, it's the last year of this document. So, President of Uzbekistan has also identified in his several speeches that the development and strengthening of friendly, good neighborly, and mutually beneficial relations with Central Asian states is a critical foreign policy priority. Despite the complex geopolitical processes today, such as the global pandemic and followed economic crisis, Uzbekistan pursues an active foreign policy at the regional and international levels. Such a proactive regional strategy created a friendly climate of diplomacy among the Central Asian states because these neighboring countries have been supporting Uzbekistan's initiative, and of course they have been quite friendly towards those initiatives. And major international powers and international organizations also have been widely supporting Uzbekistan's peaceful initiatives at a global level. Therefore, because of this, Uzbekistan has been initiating several proposals for the stability, prosperity of not only Central Asia, but the region and the whole world, both at regional events and at international events. In addition, due to Uzbekistan's active regional policy, the term the Central Asian spirit has appeared in the world politics arena. And what we mean is that the Central Asian spirit is stability, predictability, reliability. It wasn't easy to talk about such conditions 5 years ago, we should be honest, but now it's an accomplished reality thanks to our partners. For instance, Uzbekistan's foreign policy in the Central Asian direction has achieved the following positive changes. First, political dialogue and personal trust among the presidents have strengthened. As a result, they have been meeting very often. As a result, they have been organizing both formal, informal events. During pandemics, we could see how exchange of opinions have been active in telephone call formats. President of Uzbekistan, Shavkat Mirziyoyev, initiated conducting regular consultative meetings of Central Asian leaders at the UN General Assembly in September 2017. And 3 consultative meetings have been already held in Astana in 2018, Tashkent next year on 2019, and it was postponed during the pandemic, the heavy pandemic in 2020. But luckily, we have been able to organize this event in Turkmenistan on August of this year. So the initiated regular meetings have been implemented in practice because of the trust and support of other neighboring countries in Central Asia. And I should mention that because of these regular consultative meetings of Central Asian leaders, the variety of questions, variety of problems have been discussed with these neighboring countries. So the scope of questions raised in these meetings are very broad, and it is a good platform currently to exchange on hot topics. Next, what we observe currently is that regional connectivity and borders reopened, cross-border routes reestablished and enriched with new directions. Another positive is that people-to-people connections were also facilitated, encouraging regional economic, trade, and cultural relations. 5 years ago, for example, the Uzbek-Kyrgyz border was crossed by 200, 300 people a day 5 years ago. On the eve of the global pandemic, this is, I should specify that this figure reached more than 30,000 a day at the Uzbek-Kyrgyz border, and 20,000 citizens crossed the Uzbek-Tajik border. So as you can see, the number is huge. So when it was 300 a day before this proactive foreign policy initiated by Uzbekistan. If it was 300 people a day, now it's 30,000 a day at the Uzbek-Kyrgyz border. It's a huge result. The next positive tendency is that the level of bilateral and multilateral cooperation in the region has notably improved. For example, between 2017 2019, total trade turnover with Central Asian countries increased by an average of more than 50% annually and reached 5 billion in 2020 despite the pandemic. It's a huge amount for Central Asian countries, we should mention. The next positive is that complex and confusing problems such as water issue, delimitation, demarcation of state borders between Uzbekistan and neighboring countries, use of transport communications and state borders crossings have increasingly been addressed and resolved throughout 2017, 2021, because if you look in the past, we have had these problems, and because of these problems, there were troubles between neighboring countries because of the region's location. The main strategic problem is water issue, whereas now we have at a good level. We have resolved this issue with our neighboring countries, and I should mention that because of these consultations and because of this smoothing in relations, now the water problem has been sufficiently resolved, but it still remains as a problem. If you compare it to the past, we have sufficiently resolved the issue. And the same thing with border issues. In the past, people have been having problems because of the border issues, especially in the neighboring countries. Now we have luckily managed to resolve this issue. Although there are some problems in the other Central Asian countries that we have recently witnessed. I would like to further go ahead with the new dynamics of regional development in Central Asia. And for that, I should mention that due to the latest events in neighboring Afghanistan, the Afghan issue, ensuring regional security and stability, has become a priority and hot topic at bilateral and multilateral meetings. For instance, along with the other leaders, President of Uzbekistan, Shavkat Mirziyoyev, has expressed concerns on problems of ensuring security and stability in the region caused by events in Afghanistan. During the summits, such as the third consultative meeting of Central Asian leaders, the anniversary meeting of the Shanghai Cooperation Organization, and the 76th session of the UN General Assembly. So as you can see, Uzbekistan addressed this Afghan issue in high-level meetings, as you can see. The president of Uzbekistan at the Shanghai Cooperation Organization Summit has highlighted Uzbekistan's position on Afghanistan, because until then, people have been interested on the position, on the official position of Uzbekistan. And I should mention that even myself got several questions from our foreign partners on our specific position towards Uzbekistan. So in this meeting, Uzbek president highlighted the position of the country. In particular, he stated that today, a new reality has formed in Afghanistan. The Taliban's coming to power is a fait accompli. In this regard, the head of Uzbekistan stressed the need to develop coordinated approaches to the situation in Afghanistan. So it was emphasized that in interaction with the new authorities of Afghanistan, it's vital to be guided by the following fundamental principles. So three main principles were addressed to interact with new Afghan authorities. First is a broad political representation of all layers of Afghan society in government. Second, preventing the transformation of Afghanistan into a source of threats of international terrorism and drug trafficking. Third, ensuring the rights of women and national minorities. And Uzbekistan have been closely monitoring the implementation of these third principles, as you can see, and Uzbekistan has established a contact with Taliban authorities in Afghanistan. Therefore, we'll see how it goes first. For a comprehensive discussion of political settlement of the situation in Afghanistan, Uzbekistan also initiated regular high-level meetings in the Shanghai Cooperation Organization and Afghanistan format, noting that Uzbekistan also said that it would be ready to hold the first meeting in Tashkent. According to the experts, the vision of the president of Uzbekistan for resolving the crisis in Afghanistan is strategic, as well as based on deep analysis and understanding of the situation, the prospects for its development. This is evidenced by several factors. First, ignoring the current authorities of Afghanistan, we believe will further escalate the situation in the country. The emergence of a humanitarian crisis, the intensification of the activities of terrorist organizations, the beginning of a new civil war, the formation of various groups of countries by interests, which will postpone the prospect of achieving peace in Afghanistan. Second is that to ensure an inclusive political process, achieve national consensus in Afghanistan, and preserve the existing trade, economic, transport, logistics, and energy ties, it is necessary to establish a dialogue with the new authorities of Afghanistan. Realizing this, despite the initial anti-Taliban rhetoric, most of the regional and world powers involved in resolving the situation in Afghanistan, as we can observe, gradually began to interact with the Taliban movement. Third is that regular contacts at the highest level within the Shanghai Cooperation Organization can significantly impact the practical solution of the Afghan issue, we believe. Because in this regard, experts note that Shanghai Cooperation Organization is a unique organization. Almost all countries interested in achieving peace and stability in Afghanistan are represented in Shanghai Cooperation Organization, because these are the countries of Central Asia, first of all, China, Russia, Pakistan, Iran, India as members, and Turkey as a dialogue partner. So as we can see, this is a unique organization that would stimulate a resolution of hot issues in Afghanistan currently. Therefore, we believe that we should use this platform, this organization, for helping Afghanistan and its people. Today, the above countries are the leading trade and economic partners, because the countries that we mentioned above, because 83% of the total trade, energy, which is 80% of imported electricity, and food security for Afghanistan. So they share these amounts. As you can see, these are the main countries with whom Afghanistan interacts. It is also worth mentioning that Uzbekistan's role and efforts in peaceful reconciliation processes in Afghanistan are essential based on its location and political and economic advantages. Uzbekistan considers Afghanistan an integral part of Central Asia. It promotes the country into regional economic processes and infrastructure projects by making feasible achievements. As a result, you might know that Uzbekistan has been initiating several initiatives with regard to Afghanistan, starting from the UN, where we mentioned that there should be a special committee dealing with Afghanistan. Then, of course, at regional levels, Uzbekistan has been also initiating proposals for the benefit of Afghanistan. And we have also conducted several events devoted to Afghanistan issue. Then we should mention that Uzbekistan has been carrying out a project in Afghanistan for the prosperity of the people in Afghanistan. So President of Uzbekistan, in his speech at the 76th session of the United Nations General Assembly, again mentioned that it's not only us in the neighboring states, but also the whole world is interested in establishment of peace and tranquility in this country. The influence and voice of the United Nations on Afghanistan must be heard louder than ever. Indeed, today there is a need for a joint regional strategy and support for a peaceful settlement of the situation in Afghanistan. And I should mention that this has started showing its results, we believe, because of the formation of a new government in Afghanistan. Actors around Afghanistan have been also, I believe, initiating proposals to keep the stability in Afghanistan. So with regard to geopolitics of Central Asia and emerging multilateral platforms of cooperation, we should mention that following the recent positive changes in the Central Asian states, with growing economies and increasing political strength and autonomy, the key international powers have increased their focus on Central Asian states. For instance, the United States and the European Union have reviewed their strategy for Central Asia. So they have adopted a quite new document with regard to Central Asia. However, the current geopolitical situation is under remarkable shift and uncertainty at some point due to the withdrawal of the US and NATO troops from this country. On the other hand, traditional players such as Russia and China have also been striving to strengthen their cooperation with Central Asian countries through Eurasian Economic Union and Belt and Road Initiative. For instance, Russia has been a leading geopolitical actor in Central Asia for a long time. We know it very well. The region has an important place in the geopolitical architecture of Russian foreign policy as a periphery and a buffer zone. Because of the Soviet legacy, the region's infrastructure system and economical supply chains have been constructed to link to Russia, which is still functioning at certain levels. Besides, Central Asian labor migrants contribute considerably to their country's economies due to the coming of foreign funds from Russia, transfer of funds from Russia. In addition, Moscow has significant influence in the region through its soft power, because Russian TV and Russian movies, mass media, is quite popular among people in Central Asia. According to Leonid Gusev, a Russian expert at the Center for Studies of the Problems of Central Asia and Afghanistan of the Institute of International Studies, MIGIMO, Russia's foreign policy in Central Asia has three main goals. The first is promoting security and military technical cooperation through bilateral agreements and multilateral structures like CIS, Shanghai Cooperation Organization. The second is facilitating energy projects in the oil and gas sector and hydropower. The third is strengthening the integration institutions of, just like we mentioned, Eurasian Economic Union. As for Uzbekistan's cooperation within the Eurasian Economic Union, Uzbekistan considers the organization a new economic opportunity to boost national and regional development. On December 11, 2020, Uzbekistan received observer status in this organization, which can be considered a necessary step to assess the pros and cons of closer cooperation with this organization, primarily for the country's economic development, because we should mention that there are different opinions with regard to joining this organization. Therefore, President of Uzbekistan mentioned that the people of Uzbekistan, through its members of the parliament, will decide whether or not we will join this organization. Therefore, we'll see how it goes further. Now we have a chance to observe the situation, from inside as an observer. And according to experts, Russia will likely remain the most prominent external power in Central Asia in the foreseeable future in terms of high-level political and security cooperation and its wide range of investment projects in the region. The other days, the Deputy Foreign Minister of Russia, Andrei Rudenko, on the sidelines of the conference, Russia and Uzbekistan in the face of development and security challenges at a new historical stage of interaction, organized by the Uzbek Institute of Strategic and Regional Studies under the President of Uzbekistan and the International Discussion Club, WALDA, said that, Deputy Foreign Minister said that Russia has no secret agenda in Central Asia. We strive to build equal cooperation with all states of the region in a trusting manner, as honestly as possible, through a principled dialogue. Due to several other factors, China is another important geopolitical player in Central Asia. Initially, China has had only economic interest and influence in the region. However, since significant changes in the national development of China and Chinese foreign policy strategy, significantly after the launch of the Belt and Road Initiative, its priorities and presence in Central Asia have been changing. In turn, for Central Asian countries, BRI has become very favorable, which can boost, because these countries believe that this project can boost regional connectivity and trade and modernize local infrastructure, because these countries need investment for infrastructures, they need investment for regional connectivity. Therefore, these countries see Belt and Road Initiative as an opportunity to these hopes, I should mention. Despite the COVID-19 impact on national economies throughout Eurasia, China can adopt its BRI strategy to the post-pandemic world, because now investments are more than demanded than in the past. Meanwhile, COVID-19 has created a real opportunity for China to deepen its existing links and strengthen its position in Central Asia. Since the pandemic, there has been a further acceleration of Chinese long-stalled projects and debt relief discussions. Moreover, since 2020, China has launched its multi-format cooperation with the foreign ministers of all 5 Central Asian countries in the 5+1 format, which to some extent has demonstrated Chinese interest in multilateral cooperation, despite slowed economic activity in China. We believe China views any security threats from Afghanistan to Central Asia and its Western regions with great concern. Therefore, China focuses on the 3 evils, terrorism, extremism, and separatism, and strengthening regional security in Central Asia through bilateral and multilateral cooperation, mainly Shanghai Cooperation Organization. So, moreover, although Chinese investment and Russian security cooperation are often considered dominant factors in Central Asia, there is a high demand for alternatives, we believe. So this makes the US and EU and other partners, including Turkey, welcome partners for these specific reasons. For instance, the United States follow a specific geopolitical interest in the region, given the above-mentioned geostrategic importance of Central Asia. Preventing the emergence of any dominant power in the region is considered the US geopolitical task in Central Asia. Moreover, the role of Afghanistan and counterterrorism will remain central in the US strategy in the region, we believe. In the meanwhile, the new United States strategy for Central Asia defined the United States' primary strategic interest in the region to build a more stable and prosperous Central Asia. Indeed, the new US strategy for Central Asia should be considered a significant win for Central Asia because it maintains full US engagement and assistance in an era when the United States is pulling back from its engagement elsewhere in the world. According to some American scholars, recent positive changes in the region, such as transitions of political power, economic reforms, and current challenges of the COVID-19 pandemic, have created new openings for the United States. Therefore, we hope that this cooperation with the United States will even accelerate. A researcher, Philip Caruso, on foreign policy, pointed out that it's every opportunity for the United States to build stronger relations with Uzbekistan and Kazakhstan and support regional developments in Central Asia. In this regard, the successful Uzbek-American cooperation can play a significant role in stabilizing the situation in Central and South Asia. The United States is a crucial strategic partner for Uzbekistan, given its pivotal role in international security. Moreover, the European Union also sees Central Asia is one of the most strategically important regions. Transregional challenges such as human trafficking, drug trafficking, organized crime, and terrorism influence the EU interests. Therefore, the EU has been supporting CAS through various development and cooperation mechanisms. In this regard, the new EU strategy for Central Asia sees opportunities in terms of cooperation and economic development, whereas the old strategy mostly saw challenges in terms of security. Moreover, the new strategy does not present the EU as a partner or competitor in the Central Asian region against any global or regional powers. Indeed, as the world's largest economy, the European Union remains an important economic partner for Central Asian countries, both in terms of trade and as an investor. Concerning regional powers engaged in Central Asian geopolitics, Turkey's changing foreign policy in Central Asia should be mentioned. Ankara has also been striving to build a silent but important strategy towards Central Asia in the past few years. Some changes in other main actors' strategies in the geopolitics of Central Asia caused, we believe, some corrections to Turkey's foreign policy in the region. By acknowledging the leading positions of Russia and China in the region, we believe Turkey has adopted its cooperation and connectivity project, the Middle Corridor in the Euro-Asian continent. Besides, Uzbekistan's economic and political openings have been considered an excellent opportunity for Turkey. In 2019, Uzbekistan joined the Turkish Council and became an active member of the Council. It should be noted that the institutionalization of Turkey's relations with the Turkish-speaking states of Eurasia facilitated its multilateral ties and interactions. A reason for gaining membership in the Turkish Council is to expand for Uzbekistan its trade, economic, scientific, and technical cooperation with the closest neighbors in the region by creating favorable conditions for trade and investment. Plus, further simplifying customs and transit procedures, financial and banking operations. Therefore, there are high hopes in these organizations' activities. Therefore, we hope that Turkish Council activities of Uzbekistan within Turkish Council will serve only for the benefit of the members and of Uzbekistan. As an emerging regional power, we should also mention about India, because India is demonstrating its new position at regional and global levels. India is also striving to establish itself as an important regional actor in Central Asia, since the region belongs to its so-called extended neighborhood. India's cooperation with Central Asian states is developing on a bilateral and multilateral basis. In addition, the first meeting of the India-Central Asia dialogue with the participation of Afghanistan at the ministerial level took place on January 13, 2019 in Samarkand, Uzbekistan. Another actor is Japan, because Japan was the first country to institute the Central Asia-Japan 5+1 cooperative format at ministerial level back in 2004, followed by South Korea in 2007, and later by others, the European Union, the United States, and the latest is China. Japan is considered an economic giant at the global level by Central Asian states, and Japan-Central Asia relations have been predominantly economic. They will continue to remain so in the coming future, we believe. Another actor in the region is the Republic of Korea, which also has invested heavily in Central Asian states. It's interested in expanding its economic presence in the region. We believe that the engagement of South Korea to Central Asia could be seen in conjunction with its new Northern Policy Strategy, which represents Korea's current regional vision for connectivity and energy resource development project. The analysis of strategic actions and the intentions of the participants of the event of external powers in the region demonstrate that mainly Western countries, the US, the UK, and the EU member states, and Asian countries such as Turkey, Japan, South Korea have been supporting attempts of Central Asian states for integration and regional approaches to common challenges. Whereas traditional powers like Russia and China prefer mostly bilateral formats and are within their multilateral institutions such as EAEU, Shanghai Cooperation Organization, BRI. Another interesting aspect in the actions of non-regional actors is that countries like Turkey, India, Iran, and Pakistan, and their interests mostly demonstrate Russian or Chinese-centric views on the region to avoid direct competition in conflict of interest in the Central Asian region. So the new format of multilateral cooperation of Central Asian states, 5+1 format, is considered a suitable mechanism for regular dialogue between the Central Asian states and their foreign partners to improve collaboration, consequently serving regional stability, economic, and inclusive development. As for the prospects of economic cooperation and integration, I should mention some facts. As a result, the level of bilateral and multilateral cooperation in the region has notably improved. For instance, during 2017-2019, Uzbekistan's total trade with the Central Asian strategies grew annually and reached $5.2 billion. According to the statistics, the amount was $5 billion in 2020, despite the global pandemic. In contrast, the share of Central Asian states in the total trade turnover of Uzbekistan grew from 12% to 13.6% in 2020. We believe these are the main issues which is relevant to the latest changes in the region. In general, to sum up, I should mention that Central Asian countries, to be more specific, Uzbekistan has been carrying out active foreign policy mostly concentrated on foreign economic policy. Therefore, Uzbekistan has been, although it states that Central Asia is a priority in its foreign policy, Uzbekistan has not been limiting itself only with Central Asian countries. As mentioned above, Uzbekistan has been strengthening cooperation with many other states, and we are happy to note that they are also happy to strengthen this cooperation, including diversification of cooperation. So because of the reforms in different spheres in Uzbekistan currently, Uzbekistan has been diversifying its activities in Central Asia, in global world, because some spheres which have not been reformed for long have started to be reformed. Therefore, for that purpose, Uzbekistan has been seeking for further partners, for further opportunities. That's why current foreign policy of Uzbekistan is very diversified, and we should mention that to support this diversification, Uzbekistan also has been, just like mentioned above, initiating proposals for the prosperity, for the security of both Uzbekistan, Central Asia, and the world, be it at the international level, be it at the regional level. Again, I should note that we are happy that our partners, including Turkey, has been supporting us very much in this, in the implementation of these proposals, because we know how warm and good relationships are there between Turkish president and Uzbek president. We witness how they trust each other during their visits both to Uzbekistan, to Turkey. Therefore, we really hope that in the future there will be even more intensification between Turkish partners and Uzbek partners, both at political level, at entrepreneurial level, and at cultural level, because there are so many similarities, opportunities between these two countries. Therefore, we hope that there will be only intensification between the relations of Uzbekistan and Turkey. In general, this is what we wanted to say. Thank you very much for your attention, and looking forward to your further events. And maybe if someone has questions, I will be happy to answer. Thank you.
Thank you for contribution, Mr. Eldor Tulyakov. We have good wishes for our event, especially Mr. Uğur Yasin Asal, who is the head of Research Center, Neighboring Countries and Regions, said good wishes. Thanks for Mr. Uğur Yasin Asal for his good wishes, and thanks for Inaza always also. Mr. Tulyakov, we know Uzbekistan is preparing for the presidential election on October 24. How do you evaluate and read its importance for the region? What do you say about this issue?
Thank you. Thank you for the question. Of course, elections are important to express the will of the people in carrying out democratic reforms, in controlling the state. Therefore, Uzbekistan has been paying much attention to the fact that these elections are competitive, that these elections are supported by our people, and therefore Uzbekistan has been paying much attention to the fact that people come to vote safe and secure due to the pandemic. That's why state has been taking measures for that purpose. And Uzbekistan, of course, has been also establishing cooperation with international partners, including international organizations, to invite observers from these organizations to the presidential elections, including your university. We really hope that observers will come from your university also to the presidential elections. And I should mention that because of these changes lately, last 5 years, people have become more active in political life in Uzbekistan. They have become more interested in politics of Uzbekistan because therefore they are closely watching, monitoring on what's happening in Uzbekistan with regard to organizing presidential elections. That's why we are expecting high participation from people. We are expecting that people will come and vote. The percentage should be high. Therefore, well, because people have been witnessing themselves all these changes recently, Uzbekistan has been facing, and all those activities I mentioned in my speech about once again demonstrated how Uzbekistan has become an active actor in international politics. And this is, of course, because of the pragmatic and open foreign policy of Uzbekistan. Therefore, this is an important event for Uzbekistan, for the region, because our partners in the region also have been witnessing all these changes in the country, and they want this prosperity to continue. They want this stability to continue, and therefore I should once again say that it's an important event for the country and for the region. Yes, that's what I wanted to say.
Thank you for answers. Today, we are very thankful for Mr. Eldor Tulyakov for his contributions. We would like to host your again another event of our research center. Dear distinguished guests, dear academic and administrative staffs, dear students, series of this kind of events organized by the Research Center neighboring countries and regions will be continued with other guests in coming weeks. Thanks for your attention. Thanks for one more, Mr. Tulyakov.
Thank you. Thank you. I am very much pleased to be part of this event. Thank you.
Thank you for contribution, Elsa.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.